Hi, my name is Casper. I'm the founder of Relic, and in this guide, we'll be focusing on 4 proven ways to increase your AOV so you can stack more margin on top of the traffic you already have without paying a penny more on ads. So first off, AOV versus conversion rate and why it matters. So why do we focus on AOV? From all the testing we've done, AOV is usually the easier metric to influence than the conversion rate. To show you what I mean, let's throw in some real world numbers on the screen. For most e-commerce brands doing between 100k to 1 million a month, the averages look something like this. The conversion rate is around 2 to 3%. AOV is $40 to $80. Gross margins are 30 to 60%. Now let's do a quick mental exercise, right? What's harder? Convincing a cold visitor to buy for the very first time, or getting someone who's already decided to buy to spend just a little bit more? Well, the answer is kind of obvious by the title of this video. Is the latter. Convincing a cold visitor to buy for the very first time is very expensive. So the more efficient way is to get someone who's already buying to spend a little bit more. And that's the hidden leverage of AOV. So if you're running into margin pressure, AOV is like your lifeline. Here's why. Most of your fixed costs are charged once per order, not per item in the order. So think about it. Shipping fees don't scale unless weight changes dramatically. Pick and pack fees mostly stay flat. Affiliate commissions are still per order. And processing fees are often fixed or percentage based, but still it's only one transaction. And the list goes on. So when you increase AOV, your cost per order stays flat, but your revenue per order increases. That means more profit per sale, plain and simple. So why is AOV key to scaling profitably? Here's something most brands miss. When you find traction and start spending 1,000, 1,500 per day on ads, usually the instinct is, great, now let's 10x the budget, we'll get 10x the results, right? Not quite. So what usually happens is you scale to maybe 5 to 6k a day, roughly in that range, and then performance tanks. Right? It just drops. The algorithm struggles, your CAC spikes. Why? Because your total addressable market is limited, your TAM. Unless you're constantly expanding it with cold-friendly offers and broadening your positioning, scaling breaks down. But again, that's a topic for a whole other video. Let me know in the comment section if you want me to make that video. And when that happens, AOV becomes your best friend. It helps you keep ROAS healthy, widen your margin buffer so you've got more money to play with, makes scale sustainable, right? So let's get into the tactics. Okay, so the first one is multi-step cart progressions. So let's talk about one of the easiest wins for AOV that almost no brand does well. And that's multi-step cart progressions. You've probably seen this before. Free shipping when you spend $50, but what if you could stack it? Let's say after $50, there's another tier at $75, maybe with a free sample, or again $100 when you get a product upgrade or a really premium freebie. Incentivizing bigger baskets without spending a single dollar on ads, that can give you a 10 to 20% lift in AOV just by reframing the value of each additional dollar spent. So how do you pull this off? Here's what we recommend. First, free shipping should always be your first target because it's the most universally compelling reward. Easy psychological win. Then stack 2 or 3 additional tiers based on your average product value and gross margins. What usually works for our clients is adding 15 to 25% more per tier. So enough to stretch the order, but not enough to feel unreachable and scare customers away. This is where most brands mess up. The reward at each tier has to be genuinely desirable. No dusty old SKUs from last season. Make them want it. Make it feel like a deal. Make it feel curated, or even better, make it dynamic. If someone's buying a coffee, don't upsell them a shirt. Upsell them a limited edition syrup or your newest blend. So let me give you a product level example here. So this is a screenshot from True Classic from their cart. And at $49, they give you free shipping. At $99, you unlock a free performance tee. And $149, you get a premium polo. So that's a £50 jump each time. So about 50% cart increase. But it works because the products are premium and it feels like a deal, like you're unlocking more value each time. So the tier spacing is flexible. The reward to effort ratio has to feel right. So multi-step cart progressions done right can stack serious profit on top of the exact same traffic you're running to your website currently. So let's stay on theme. Tip number 2 is free shipping threshold. So here's the deal. Your free shipping threshold is not just a perk. It's a gateway to all the other upsells like we saw here. First one to unlock is always free shipping. So that is your gateway to unlocking higher cart values. But we need to really get that locked in, really dial it in. So first, is free shipping worth it? Short answer, hell yeah. Yeah. I dug up this study done by one of the biggest 3PLs in America, and here's what they found. Almost 60% of online shoppers say free shipping is a top factor affecting their purchasing decisions. 54% of shoppers will make future purchases from a retailer if they know they receive free shipping. And 59% of customers will spend more in order to reach the established free shipping minimums. So nearly 70% of online carts are abandoned because of shipping costs. Right? So think about it. Would you, sitting at your desk right now, would you rather spend $65 and get free shipping or spend $50 on a product with a $15 shipping fee? I think the answer is obvious. So in optimizing this, not only do you have the potential to increase your AOV, but your conversion rate will also increase as a result of that. So if you're on Shopify, tools like IntelliGems and Help Scout let you test shipping thresholds. So here's the question most brands don't ask. Will this threshold increase my revenue per visitor? Because lifting AOV doesn't really matter if it tanks your conversions. So you need to test the threshold that will make sense for your business in terms of unit economics. So let's say your AOV is $50 and you set your minimum threshold at $40. So you'd be taking a massive hit on each order, basically. So here's a quick equation just to guide you here. So proposed cart value minus the AOV times gross margin minus average shipping costs. So just for the sake of this example, let's say your proposed cart value is 65, AOV is 50, gross margin is 40, so like the middle ground, and average shipping cost is $8 per order. Right. So continuing with this example, let's say your current AOV is $50, but your free shipping threshold is set at $120. So that is a massive jump. And what happens? Hardly anyone unlocks it. It's too far away. It won't make sense. Instead, you want to catch the customer just after they commit to buying. So that's where they're most open to spending just a little bit more. So test thresholds that say around 10 to 30% above your current AOV. So in our example, that is $65. So 30% increase is $65 from the 50. So we do this equation here. $65 minus 50, that's $15. We go $15 times 0.4, so that's the 40% margin, so that's $6. And then we take that away from the average shipping cost. So that's $2. So in this case, by increasing your threshold by 30%, you've widened your margin while dropping your shipping cost to just $2 per order. That is massive. So then you track two things. Did your AOV go up? And did the revenue per visitor stay stable? If AOV jumps, but revenue per visitor drops, then your threshold might be too high. In that case, scale it back and retest it. So that's what we'll often do. We'll double test just to make sure that it's a balancing act at the end of the day. So we want to maximize the cart value without tanking conversions, because it doesn't matter if your cart value is $150 if your conversions, go down to 1%, because you'll be making less money anyway. So tip number 3 here is relevant upsells and cross-sells. Talking on the product page upsells, add to cart pop-ups, the smart cart checkout offers, post-purchase thank you page bumps, you know the deal, everything. Here's a rule we follow in our Relic system. An upsell is only powerful when it feels like a logical, helpful next step, not a desperate cash grab. So that's a rule we go by. So imagine this. You're shopping for a solid white dress shirt, something clean, formal, event ready, and you get recommended funky socks, right? It doesn't make sense at all. So it breaks the frame and you instantly lose the trust in the seller. Why? Why? Because the intent behind the purchase and the upsell don't match. So we call this context fracture inside the Relic. So it really kills conversions. So now contrast that to Amazon. You buy a charging cable, and with that charging cable, you get recommended a charging block and a carry case, let's say. It's logical, it's helpful, and it makes sense. It enhances the user experience. So that's what we call stacking intent layers. So every suggestion feels tailor-made. So here's a relic property for you. Think of a product page as a purchase story, right? And the upsells and cross-sells, they're the next chapter, not a plot twist. So like, see when I mentioned the funky socks? It felt like a plot twist, like how did we get here? So again, it's about the logical flow of the sale, of the purchase. So you're enhancing the customer's original goal. So let's think back to the example of the dress shirt. Recommending dress pants to go with the crisp white shirt from the example above. That way, we reduce cognitive load on our customer by anticipating their needs. It's what Amazon's doing. And therefore, saving them time and making it easier for them to say yes. Right? So this means offer complementary products, not just random whatever. Match the vibe of your initial SKU style, purpose, and context. Context is everything. So if you're on Shopify, you can use tools like Feather or Wiser to build bundles based on actual behavior, and it shouldn't cost you too much. Let's move on to tip number 4, and strategic bundling that drives more than just AOV. Now, hear me out on this. Because most brands treat bundles like a discount gimmick, not what it actually is. So the way we use it in our Relic system is a lever to reprogram how our customer buys from you, right? So there are 2 key layers to this. Layer 1 is frictionless bundling, so it's a visual priority. Your first job is to make the bundle the default. So what does that mean? That means on your collection pages, lead with the bundles as the main image, right? On your product pages, position the bundle options above the fold and ideally near add to cart button. And then your navigation, feature bundles as top level category. So why do we do this? On your collection pages, if you lead with bundles, you're sort of building this idea of systems, of systemizing buying from you. On product pages, if you have bundles really far below, people don't usually scroll that far, right? They want to get to the point, like quick, quick, quick. And in your navigation, if you feature bundles as a top level category, you expose them to higher prices as well, because your bundle obviously will be higher price than your single item. So you're kind of anchoring the value to that bundle. Therefore, that influences behavior that results in higher cart values as well. So why? Because you want to condition the shopper to view your products as systems, again, like I said, not standalones. That primes them for deeper cart behavior. If you're selling skincare, instead of promoting a cleanser, promote a 3-step daily glow bundle, right? If you're selling supplements, lead with the gut health stack, not just a single probiotic. This is called outcome framing. Again, customers don't want random products. They want outcomes. They want specific changes in their life that your product is going to help accommodate. So here we've got an example from Ghost. Again, we've got a Ghost Gains bundle, Ghost Recovery bundle, and Ghost Natty bundle. Right, so they're creating a system around the main product here, which is whey. But we're going to get to that in layer number 2. So layer 2 is the strategic assembly. This is where most brands get it wrong. So they either offer bundles that make zero logical sense, just random mishmash of products put together, or they're so protective over the margins that they forget the real purpose of your bundling. It's to increase lifetime value, not just your average order value, right? So how you do that is by deepening the product exposure. So let me show you how to build those bundles that do both protect your margin and shift your customers' behavior. It's really interesting. So rule number 1, make the bundle cheaper than buying it individually, but not by much. So the goal isn't to bribe them into buying it, it's to nudge them toward, smarter buying. So think 10 to 20% savings is more than enough, especially if the bundle is outcome framed and clearly more convenient. Again, we go back to the Ghost example. Rule number 2, use bundle logic that fits the SKU type. So for consumables and wearables, let's say t-shirts or supplements, you can absolutely go with 1, 2, 3 or 1, 3, 6 or 30, 60, 90 day logic because it works. It ties into a habit in case of supplements. But if it's a part of a daily ritual, say grooming routine, you're better off with step-based bundles. So cleanser, tone, moisturize, morning, midday, evening. And again, with the Ghost example, pre-workout, intra-workout, post-workout. So here we can see example from Space Goods. Again, we've got 1, 2, 3 bags, right? It makes sense for that type of SKU, right? But here we've got a very interesting example from Bloom. So they have the Acne Essentials kit here. When you buy this bundle, you're also exposed to this SPF 50 sunscreen, right? Which leads me to my next point, which is rule number 3. Leverage bundling to introduce new categories. So this is where things get really clever, and this is where LTV comes in. Let's say someone's buying your best-selling shorts. Bundle it with socks and a tee. Even if they didn't plan on buying those, now you've exposed them to your broader product universe. So that's how you condition repeat purchase behavior and give new or secondary SKUs free marketing budget, right? So you don't need to burn ad spend launching new products. Just introduce it into your bundles and let AOV do the heavy lifting. So again, going back to the Bloom example, you buy the acne kit and you get exposed to the sunscreen, right? If you scroll back up to the Ghost example, you've got a main product, which is Whey, which is their best-selling product on the website, and you have other smaller products, like, for example, the pre-workout, the creatine, the smaller SKUs, the secondary SKU. And that way you cross-pollinate users all across your SKU range. So when they run out of pre-workout, they're more likely to buy it again because it was part of this system, of this gains bundle, let's say. And that's how smart bundling can not only just lift your AOV, but your LTV as well. Alright, so if you enjoyed this video, if you found value in it, make sure to drop a like, comment, what other topics you'd like me to cover, and I'll see you in a future video.